We've all been there, sitting on our computer, maybe Facebooking our friends, when the phone rings and you know it's a telemarketer, but you answer anyways, and they keep you on that phone and try to sell you some obscure piece of furniture or plan, right, Duncan?
Yeah.
Okay, well, now this is actually illegal according to the POPI Act that was passed late last year. But Duncan, I don't think anyone is talking about this.
Not enough, certainly not as much as they should be, right? I'll give you an example. I know for a fact that there's a furniture store in Table Milnerton called Hirsch's. And I know that they have specials on washing machines and dryers and stoves. Now you may ask, how do I know that? I've never been to the store, but somewhere they bought my information and they send me a text every week, twice a week, like clockwork.
Jeez.
That is illegal under POPI.
Okay, so this is a brand new law. I mean, we're only in February, so it's brand new. Are companies abiding by this law? It doesn't seem like it because you're getting text messages.
One of the aspects in the law is the law calls for a regulator to be appointed. The regulator will determine whether companies indeed have been trading personal information and also will set penalties and fines. The regulator, though, hasn't been appointed yet. So it gives companies, I should say, leeway to, play the law and hope that they don't get caught out. But certainly, I can see that there's a healthy trade in personal information. Anecdotally, I can tell you that a name plus a phone number and some kind of indication of a person's LSM is worth about 10 Rand per name in blocks of 100.
What is personal information?
So the law applies to any company in South Africa. It's not allowed to exchange information. Even between different subsidiaries of the same company. Pick n Pay has a right to contact you because you've done business with them. But they cannot sell your name to say Outsurance or any other company to say, hey, here's a good customer of ours, why don't you call them up, maybe they'll be one of your good customers as well. That's illegal, but Pick n Pay also can't sell your name to perhaps a Pick n Pay financial services company, even though they are part of the Pick n Pay group.
So in theory, your information should be pretty well protected
in theory,
when you sign up for services.
Yeah, and in theory, every time somebody wants to use your name or they want to use your contact information, they must get your express permission. So instead of getting those SMSs where it says reply to opt out, the law now says you must opt in.
Oh, that's great. But let's get back to the question, what is personal information?
Right, so personal information is any information that identifies you personally.
Yes.
So that would be, of course, a name, an ID, a phone number, but then it also gets into other areas. For example, what about a license plate on your car? What about information that you upload to Facebook? Or information that you put on Twitter? And here, this is why the importance of getting the regulator is key, because the regulator will make a determination on whether this information is personal or whether this is in the public domain. If you look at Facebook's terms and conditions, if you upload data to a company page on Facebook or to a group, that is no longer personal. That is now public information. You effectively could set up a company in Botswana or Namibia and do this collecting personal information from South Africans and sell it, and the law would have no effect on you.
What are some other loopholes that would be easily accessible to companies during this kind of transition?
Well, you're implying, of course, that companies want to play nasty. Maybe I'm idealistic.
If they wanted to.
Yeah. Interestingly, the law says that the law doesn't make a specific exception for government agencies to share data, and yet it appears that they do. For example, does it mean that where your car is registered, or Home Affairs for that matter, can share your home address with, say, Sanral on e-tolls, for example? Now, it shouldn't, but the law is subject to interpretation. It says it allows for lawful collection. It allows for any activity that is not terrorist related, and those kinds of terms you can throw around and you can interpret them as you will because there's no regulator.
What do people need to know while watching the story and moving forward?
Most of the time, your personal information has become a commodity. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to market to you. Read, send spam. And so just be careful where you enter your personal information. You could get yourself a spare old phone, put in a SIM card, and use that number only when you want to enter personal information on forms and stuff. And so when that phone rings, you'll know that that can only be spam. It's not anything else. And then you don't have to answer it.
That's a very good idea.
But don't do that. Sort of.
Well, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing how this story unfolds. I'm sure we'll see it on the technology.
Yeah. We have been following it, and we kind of hope that it's everybody's job to really look after your personal information.
Yeah.